Okay, my sunflower soap. So I made some sunflower discs. I have a large sunflower and then these two, like this one, the slightly bigger one was with the 23 millimeter and this one was made with the 18 millimeter. So I'm going to make a base, basically a really pale light yellow, embed my sunflowers, which a whole lot of sunflower extruding, and then pipe sunflowers on top. So I'm basically going to use two tips. This is your flower tip for making flowers, I'll make it for the leaves if I do the leaves, and then the flower portion of the sunflower, which is the 352. And then this one to pipe the center of the sunflower, which is a Wilton 18. So that's the plan. We'll see how it goes. I used to pipe sunflowers a lot. I used to make custom favors with it. So we're gonna see if I remember how to do it, because it's been years, probably, I don't know, 5 years since I last piped sunflowers. So we'll see how it goes. To pipe the sunflowers, it's not that hard. So I'm using that leaf petal tip and I'm starting from the center and piping out. So I create a wide edge to start, and then as I pull out, I kind of don't squeeze as much and it narrows and it creates that kind of petal look. Now I do 2 layers, so I'll do 4 or 5 leaves for the first layer, and then I will pipe on top of that, just kind of altering it a little bit, another set of petals. So it kind of gives it some definition. Now you can see here, I did put this on a Lazy Susan. Normally I actually just do this with 2 hands. I will just switch back and forth with right, left to do each side of the sunflower. But I had sliced my hand open and had an appointment in 2 hours to get it stitched. So I was one-handed with this. It was interesting, but the oils were in lye were ready and made, and I knew the cut was bad enough that I was going to need stitches and I wouldn't be able to make soap for a while, and I wasn't going to waste all those oils and lyes and the embeds I had, so I made soap. You can see here I try with my left hand. That was a very bad idea. I stopped and I did not use my left hand again. I'm just going to speed this up so you can kind of see the whole process. Right now, my base batter is still super fluid and the sunflowers are kind of sinking in a little bit. On top of that, my yellow soap it's a good consistency, but it's a tad fluid. And because I was stuck one-handed, I was having issues with getting it to be exactly what I wanted. The tip, you can see I tried some brown, which was way too fluid, and you didn't get any of the definition on that first one. But I just pipe 2 or 3 little brown dots on top. And then after I finish all this, you'll see I add leaves. I'm using the same tip as I'm using for the sunflowers, just green, and I'm just putting leaves where it looks like they look good. My batter was still fairly fluid and it was getting a little harder, so the sunflowers weren't sinking as much as those first 5 or so. And you can see that it's going a lot easier now. I also figured out a method with the Lazy Susan in one hand that worked well enough. A lot of people will pipe their flowers first, like the day before, on little pieces of freezer paper. Set them aside, let them harden up, and then the next day just embed them on top of the batch and then maybe add your leaves or some added embellishments. With sunflowers, definitely have to do that. Sunflowers, you can, but I find that I can pipe sunflowers right on a batch without pre-making them without any issues. There are other flowers which I cannot do this well with. So it really just kind of depends on what flower you're trying to make, or even what it is you're piping, even if it's not a flower. Go with whatever works best for you. There's not a right or wrong way, really. You can pipe right on top of your batch if you want to, and not pipe the day before, then make a batch and then embed them. This was the second loaf, and you can see my petals are not as good. They're a bit more stringy. My soap was a little thicker and my hand was tired, and as you can see, my left hand was completely useless at that point other than rotating the lazy Susan. I am I mean, these aren't bad, but if you compare the two loaves, this one is definitely not quite as well piped as the first one. So I can't be too hard on myself, but I do wish that these weren't quite so stringy towards the ends. You can see how those like the end of the petal gets really kind of drawn out and a little bit stringy. I wish that hadn't been the case, but otherwise, they're cute. They look like sunflowers. Yesterday, right before I was going to make this soap, I sliced open my hand. I was cleaning a knife, blade down, not out, and it slipped and, yep, cut my palm. So I put a small bandage on because I couldn't get the glove on my hand with it off, but I'm supposed to have the bigger bandage on so it's completely protected. I'll put it back on after. But anyways, I had the soap, like the oils were melted and ready, the lye was ready, everything was prepped, and I knew, like, when I saw the cut, it was bad, and I knew it was gonna need stitches. And I was like, I am not letting this sit here. I had all them beds made, and I knew if I had stitches, I wouldn't be making soap for at least a week. Like I'd be on the sideline. So I made soap basically one-handed. Yeah. My piping is definitely not the best. This loaf was the first one I did, and it was a little bit better than the second one. If you can see, like, the leaves are very stringy. But normally when I pipe sunflowers, I use both hands. I just switch. I don't know. I know it's weird, but it's how it works for me. I couldn't do that with this. I tried once and I was like, nope, this hand was basically out of commission. So I had to just pipe with my right hand. I had a lazy Susan, so I put my mold on that and tried to spin, which, oh my gosh, that took me forever to get the hang of. So this piping is less than stellar, but considering that I was basically doing it one hand by holding my left hand above my heart so that the bleeding would not start again, I'll take it. it's not as bad as it could have been. And then this is the inside. Now, I love this light yellow. Like, it was perfect what I'm going for. I wish I had put the leaves down and not up. And I wish I had shifted that one a little bit over, but when I was putting everything in and doing this basically one-handed, it was hard. And so they kind of got in how they got in. And I'm just gonna take it. So it was, again, not quite perfect. And I kind of wish I had 2 yellows, and next time I would make the yellow a little bit darker for the sunflowers, just so they pop a little bit more. It gets a little washed out, it looks like on the camera. It does stand out a bit more. But overall, I'm calling this a win. I will take it. It's just short. That was the end piece. Okay, so that's, I had a little extra sunflower, so I put it in here. I don't know, it's in maybe 3 or 4 bars, that extra length, because I wasn't going to waste it. Ugh, and there's always a bar where you just don't quite get enough sunflower. I also had an issue when I started piping this. This fragrance doesn't, like, it doesn't accelerate. Like, that was one of its key things, was it was a slow mover. Holy cow, is this a slow mover? It was not setting up, and I had to start piping because my yellow was starting to set up for the sunflowers. And oh my word, it just kept sinking in those initial ones, and I was like, oh well, it's not that bad. And I don't think anyone would actually even really notice that it's not sitting on top, that it's sunk in. But yeah, it did sink in a little bit, which it's okay. It's not the end of the world. I said no one's gonna notice, but I had to get these done, and I had to get them done before my appointment, because yeah, I knew when I came back that I was going to be out of commission. So this batch was one more stringy, and see how these ends string off. I had basically no control right now, and my batter was a little too thick, and yeah, so now here are the 3 sunflowers, which went every which way. Like, I'm surprised that I actually even have some that are standing straight. And after cutting this, I wish I had put them on the bottom versus the top, but hey, I'm not going to be too picky considering how yesterday went. So you can see those shifted, and then this was like, I didn't have full length, so there are a couple pieces, and yeah, these are in every which way. So it's not awful, don't get me wrong, and it's just hindsight. Thinking about this, I was like, I wish they were kind of grouped together on the bottom. And yeah, this piping, this loaf was definitely not piped as well as the first one, but that's okay. Oh, look. So that one went down, these went up, that went sideways. It's okay. And look, there's always one bar when I cut them that basically lacks any sunflowers. I don't know how I always manage to do that, even though I try and pipe it so that there's at least a partial sunflower on every one. They're cute. I really do like these sunflower embeds. You can see that there's two different widths. So I made these first with the skinny tail, and they were really hard to extrude, and they didn't extrude perfectly. Not that you can tell when you put them in the soap. So I went back and made the stems thicker. I love the skinny ones, but the thicker ones work much better. So that is what I will be selling, are the ones with the thicker stem. So there we have it. My 20 pounds of sunflower soap, or 10 pounds. It's not perfect, but it's cute. And it smells really good. So this is Grapefruit Glow from Brambleberry. It's not just grapefruit, it's like a blend of citruses and kind of some florals. And it just smells fresh and summery, and I really liked it. It just screamed, go with this soap. Like, the soap is bright and fresh and makes me smile, and that fragrance did basically the same thing. So that's what I used, and I really like it. I'm glad I did. Like I said, it's kind of a fruity floral, and I think it works perfectly with this design.